Finally, at Brendan VEM, Brendan Velasquez asks, Ian, what rookie mistakes do new used game store employees typically make? Not pre-owned, new used game store employees. What do they do, Ian?
They show up to work late.
Whoa, that's some shade. Lunar shade. Two locations.
Two locations. Yeah, when I'm at work, when an employee shows up late, that's like my one pet peeve.
Not like someone showed up late for the podcast.
I was about to actually say that. I did that today. I showed up late for the podcast. I set my alarm for...
It worked though. I was working the landscaping, but okay.
Anyway, so the biggest mistakes I think they make, it's not so much a mistake, but one of the problems we have is we teach them how to take stuff in for trade-in, and it's a long process. We usually work with them for about 2 months actively on it, because we want them to have a solid foundation. We don't want them to pay too much. We don't want them to pay too little. But as we do this, we explain to them that, it's a learning experience. They're going to screw it up a couple of times. It's fine. You're $15 over, you're $15 under. It happens. But we do this because we want them to have the confidence to get out there and do it. And they need to get out there and do it on their own.
Sure.
The hardest thing with new employees who you finally let go to do it is that they panic. And I understand it.
Their Funkoland cheat sheet isn't enough for how much they should do for trade-ins.
Yeah, because a lot of it is kind of nebulous. We don't have a hard sheet to go by. It's impossible to do a hard sheet to go by when you're dealing with that many systems.
Sure.
So I would say that the hardest thing is to instill the confidence in them. And I think that's the biggest mistake, is they don't have enough confidence in it. They know. They watch us. We teach them. They learn by osmosis. But then when they're finally confronted with it, they definitely want a hand to hold.
Even if they have all the prices in front of them.
Yeah, and they know they know it. The worst thing that comes of this is something good will come in, but it's a high ticket item, something that might resell for $300.
Sure.
And they'll pass on it because they're just too afraid to make an offer.
They're afraid to put it in. They won't call you or ask her.
And they will sometimes, but like if it's busy, they may panic. This has happened before. And they
don't realize that item will probably sell fairly quickly.
Right. And what they need to realize is, like, they know how to check it. They panic, and it's just like, it's an expensive item, but you still deal with it like any other item. So it's not something we can necessarily get mad at them for. Like I said, we teach them how to check for fakes and stuff like that. And I understand the first few times can be scary, but at some point we really need them to just be hands off and to do it themselves. So you learn by making mistakes, and everyone's going to make those mistakes. But yeah, it's a very common issue. I think almost all new independent game store employees go through it, but it definitely seems to take them a while to get the training wheels off. And maybe maybe they learn. If it helps them build the confidence and turn into better employees, that's good.
Oops.
But I always find that they really don't need those training wheels. That's what I'm getting at. Like, they may think they do, but when I'm like, well, what would you have done for this? I'm like, no, that's right. That it's just, it's like 3 extra months of getting these calls or having them pass up on things. And I'm like,
they're being overly careful.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I get it. It's our money. It's not, like I said, it's not as big of a problem. It's just, it's not exactly necessary.
So that's the big issue?
That's one of them.
Not leaving a tray of discs out on the counter?
Oh, God. Well, that guy had a fucking opiate addiction, a real bad one.
That's some good filtering in the recruitment process.
Hey, I didn't hire him. My hires are good, like good old Walter.
We I met Walter.
Walter's awesome. Yeah, so that's a fun story. We hired a guy. We've had 2 Cliffs, both awful. 2 Chris's, both awful. Never hiring a Cliff or a Chris again. Anyways, we had a Cliff. We hired him. He worked there.
Yeah, Cliff. Yeah.
He worked.
I do a Cliff Clavin. We got a lot of games.
Cliff Aiken.
Cliff Clavin from
Cliff Clavin. That was Clay Aiken.
Cliff Clavin from Cheers.
Oh yes.
The
Sorry.
mailman. Did you know that Donkey Kong was actually based off a mule? I don't know.
He
fucking no one cares.
He was organizing discs during a very busy Saturday, and he left a disc of a bin of about 200 loose PlayStation 2 games on the counter, and then turned around and went to the bathroom. And someone else was ringing someone else up. I wasn't there that day.
Oh, so there was another person there? I didn't even see it.
Well, there was another person there, but he left like the bin over there. It was busy. Someone was ringing someone else up.
Someone just carried
He
it
turned around and, fucking was probably...
So some swap meet that weekend at Spring Valley had 200...
Someone just walked off with a bin of 200 PlayStation 2 games.
$2 discs of PlayStation 2 games.
Oh, and another big one was when we had the arcade machines. A lot of new employees decided that they didn't need to get anything done and just go fuck off on the arcade machines.
Really?
Yeah.
At least they were using quarters?
No.
Oh, come on. They couldn't even use their own quarters?
When I started there and I would have free time, I used my own quarters on the arcade machine. Treg was like, yeah, that's fine. But no, one of actually it was the second Cliff when he started working there, would do nothing but play Ms. Pac-Man. He wasn't very good at it, and he would just take the keys to the arcade machine and open it up and just fucking just fucking hit the coin mechanics.
I haven't met one Cliff my entire life, and you hire 2 at a video game store. I just think that's funny.
Yeah.
I've never met a Cliff. Yeah. I've seen Cliffs, Sunset Cliffs, but and that's it. So people that either play too much video games, leave out stuff that gets stolen, or are too afraid to spend money to get trade-ins that you desperately need for the store.
Yep.
Those are the things. And that's it. That's it. That's what new employees make. That's the mistakes.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And sometimes they don't shower enough.
Really?
Yeah, we've had to have...
you think that would be a warning sign of stuff that you can't take care of yourself, that you can't take care of games at a store? If you can't shower.
Treg was like, I was like, what? He was like, I had to have a conversation with Dylan about his odor. I was like,
hopefully these are people that are long gone, aren't listening to the podcast.
Long gone. I was like,
I get a picture of Treg. Treg's the nicest guy. You showered enough, or
I wanted to know like how it goes, like because that's how he replied. He said it to me. He's like, I had to have a conversation with Dylan about his odor.
So you might want to shower like once a day.
Well, there was a day that I was working with Cliff 2. And you could tell he hadn't showered, and there was just this rank odor emanating from his shoe area.
From the shoe? So that must mean you're not wearing clean socks, at least.
So the one
some baby powder.
The one day I was like, oh, it's so bad. So I had the Lysol, and I grabbed the can like I was moving it.
And you sprayed it.
And I sprayed his shoes real quick. And he was like, huh? What? And I was like, oh, sorry, man, my finger slipped. I put the can back down. And he was like, oh, that's all right. And he didn't even act like it. It was crazy.
And then he starts just applying it to like the armpit area. It's like, what's that over there? What?
It was so bad. Those shoes were so bad.
So stinkiness is on the list too.
Yeah.
You get some cleanly people there.
Hey, everyone who works for us now is great. Lane's great. Walter's great. I'm great. Treg's great.